talk about the Super Eagles now. I mean, it's the penultimate international break of the new season before the World Cup. Yeah, because we have one more international break to go before after this before the World Cup, and the squad was released, and I mean, same of same. Two friendlies have been confirmed: Algeria and Portugal. We've talked about that in previous editions of the show. Now let's go through the list now and talk about some particular players in the squad. For the goalkeepers, Maduka Okoye makes a return to the team after. If you want to say an exile, he was one of the most criticized players from the AFCON due to that goal Tunisia scored. The Super Eagles. Adebayo Adele as well, the man from Israel, also in the squad. Francis Uzoho makes up the three goalkeepers in the squad. For the defenders, William Trus Ekong, who made his first start of the season for Watford this past weekend. He haven't been playing game, but I mean, first start for Watford this past weekend. He's there with the team. Kenneth Umiro, I mean, he's becoming one. He's also one of the experienced players in the team. Also for his club, Leganes, he's been the captain of the side recently. So yeah, back with the team. Leon Balogun, who recently moved to Queens Park Rangers, also returns to the squad. Zaidu Sanusi, Calvin Bassi, Kevin Akpoguma also returns. Chidozie Awaziem and Ola Aino. For the midfielders, Wilfred Ndidi, Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, and the new man who made his Champions League debut for Club Brugge. His name is Rafael Onyedika. And for the forwards, Moses Simon, Kelechi Iheanacho, Samuel Chukwueze, Taiwo Awoni, Terem Murphy, Chidera Ejuke, Henry Onyekuru, Ademola Lookman, Siri Deses, and Ahmed Musa. This was the official list release. Of course, we've had some withdrawals due to so many changes due to injuries and stuffs like that. Now let's talk about Wilfred Ndidi. Now he makes a return to the squad. I mean, it's going to be his first game under the new manager, Jose Paseret. But let me bring Benedict in now. I mean, Wilfred Ndidi had, for me, one of his worst games at Leicester this past weekend, where they got trashed by Spurs, 6 goals to 2. I mean, it was one of his worst game of the season. He made one error that led to goal in that game. I mean, and the manager has been they've been a poor team so far this season. I think one win from 6. No win actually. Yeah. So they've. I mean, it's been a torrid time for Leicester City and that man Brendan Rodgers. And it's when you listen to his pressers, you could tell he's a man who's waiting to be sacked. And I read somewhere that they're going to pay him a huge sum of money if you're going to sack him.
A lot of money.
I don't know if that's why the delay from Leicester City to sack him from his job and stuff like that. But what do you make of Leicester City? I mean, we have Nigerians there, so it's a concern for us. We have Kelechi Iheanacho, Wilfred Ndidi. But what do you make of the team generally this season? And Brendan Rodgers, should he be sacked? What do you make of the team so far?
Well, the team have been generally bad. I think this is one of the worst since the promotion. They could have done better. The Leicester of last season could have been 12th by now, but they're 20th. They sold Wesley Fofana, who is probably their best defender, and they didn't sign any single player. You can imagine that. And we all know when you sell a lot of your players without signing any player, and it's such
they got in a defender actually, but I mean it's a new signing, so it needs time to bed in and stuff like that. So,
but in the Premier League, such gambles are really meant. If you look at Brentford, who just made it, they signed a lot of players. Leeds United lost Rafinha. They immediately used everything to back it up, everything they had. But Leicester City have just been the opposite, and I just feel for our Nigerian players that have been there. Wilfred Ndidi is really lost form. I remember Ndidi was arguably the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League at some point, going head to head with the likes of Kante, and before there's new era of defensive midfielders, Thomas Partey, Rodri, and all of that. He was one of the best, and Ndidi has not. Iheanacho has not also always been a promising player, so I'm not surprised Man City didn't accept him. Now at Leicester, come on, how many games has he started this season? He hasn't even started any game this season, always off the bench. Jamie Vardy too hasn't been impressive. Maybe that's the only reason he gets to even see game time. Maybe Brendan Rodgers is like, oh my God, I gotta have faith in you, please help me today, and it's not really come true. For our Nigerian players, Ndidi and Iheanacho, I really hope that they get better and maybe they move to another thing, because the way this thing could go, Leicester could just get relegated.
So Brendan Rodgers sacked should be, no more delays. What do you think? Who are
Brendan,
the managers out there that are available to come?
that's the thing. That managers are really scarce these days.
As well.
But if you ask me, they shouldn't sack Brendan Rodgers. It's too
They should sack him.
early.
Sabi coach.
And also, he's been there for some time.
All right, from his presence, like I said, he looks like a man who's waiting for that decision, to just get his head cooled. I mean, it's been, the pressure has been so much on Leicester City. I didn't see this bad run of form coming. I mean, from that team, especially Leicester City, losing games to teams they should be winning. I mean, if they lose to Spurs, it is Spurs. I mean, but the way they capitulated in that game, at some point, I thought the comeback was on when Maddison scored that goal. But I mean, we saw the brilliance of Song Heung-min when he come off the bench to, I think it was less than 15 minutes
hat trick.
So these things happen. You get to lose to superior oppositions whenever you play into it. But Leicester
Well,
City,
the good thing about this is at every point in the Premier League, someone has got to be bottom, and it just had to be. Unfortunately, it's Leicester. If it wasn't Leicester, it's gonna be someone else. It just has to be someone. And if it wasn't Leicester and there's a Nigerian player in that team, we'll be having the same conversation. But as for me, leave Brendan Rodgers. He won the FA Cup against Chelsea. Very, very impressive run that year. They also even made it to the Europa League that same year, but didn't go far as they did. It's not also the first time. It was when West Ham were doing well too. They were too also doing well when West Ham had Jesse Lingard. Leicester City too were vying for the top for that time, but it just fell out to this, and that was when the Cinnamon Kel's era just happened now. But it's where it is now.
You are listening to Elegbete TV Radio.